High Chancellor Voron, Earth, your time in the Galactic Council is over. Leave and never return. Admiral Helen Kincaid, through gritted teeth, you will regret this. The Galactic Council chamber buzzed with tension, a palpable energy that everyone could feel. Fleet Admiral Helen Kincaid stood tall among Earth's delegates, her eyes narrowing at the sight of High Chancellor Voron. The alien leader's smug expression only fueled her resolve. Earth, your time in the Galactic Council is over. Leave and never return, Voron declared, his voice echoing through the Grand Hall. You will regret this, Helen muttered through gritted teeth, her words a vow rather than a threat. The decision had been swift and without room for appeal. Accusations of aggression and misconduct had been levied against Earth, each more outrageous than the last. The council members, swayed by falsified evidence and whispered conspiracies, had voted to expel humanity. Shock and disbelief rippled through the human delegation, quickly replaced by a steely determination. As Helen and her team left the chamber, diplomat Noah Green whispered, "This isn't over. We'll find the truth and expose it." Back on Earth, the news hit like a sledgehammer. Broadcasts of the expulsion spread rapidly, stirring a mix of outrage and unity among the global population. President Evelyn Harper addressed the world from the steps of the Capitol. "We have been wronged," she stated firmly, her eyes blazing with conviction. "But we will not bow. We will rise, stronger and more united than ever." The immediate fallout was severe. Resource shortages loomed as trade embargoes took effect, cutting off vital supplies. Diplomatic ties were severed, leaving Earth isolated. In response, leaders and citizens rallied together, transforming shock into action. Admiral Helen Kincaid convened a strategic meeting with key figures, including scientist Dr. Raj Patel and diplomat Noah Green. "First, we need to address the resource issue," Helen began, her voice steady. "Dr. Patel, can we develop alternative energy sources quickly?" Dr. Patel, a brilliant mind in energy innovation, nodded thoughtfully. "We've been experimenting with new fusion technologies. With enough focus and resources, we can accelerate development." "Good," Helen replied. "Noah, we need you to dig deeper into the Council's decision. Find out who's behind this." Noah's eyes hardened with resolve. "I'm on it. I've already uncovered some discrepancies that suggest foul play." Days turned into weeks as Earth mobilized. Factories that once produced consumer goods now churned out defense materials and advanced technologies. Dr. Patel's team made rapid progress, developing new energy sources that could sustain the planet independently. Underground alliances were also forming. Diplomat Green, leveraging his extensive network, reached out to other marginalized species. Many were sympathetic, having faced similar injustices from the dominant council factions. These covert discussions laid the groundwork for a broader coalition against the corrupt elements within the council. Meanwhile, Noah's investigation bore fruit. He discovered a series of encrypted communications between the Accelerate Coalition and key council members, revealing a conspiracy to frame Earth and manipulate the council's decisions. "Look at this," Noah said, showing the findings to Helen and Dr. Patel. "They've orchestrated every accusation, every piece of evidence against us. We need to make this public." Helen nodded, her expression grim but determined. "We will. But first, we need to ensure our defenses are impenetrable. The Council won't take kindly to being exposed." As preparations continued, a new threat emerged. Reports indicated a coalition of rival species amassing forces near Earth's borders, preparing for an invasion. The timing was no coincidence. "We need to be ready," Helen said, addressing her officers. "This invasion is their attempt to crush us while we're vulnerable. We won't let that happen." Earth's military forces were put on high alert. Innovative defensive strategies were devised, utilizing the new technologies developed by Dr. Patel's team. Fortifications were strengthened, and every soldier, engineer, and citizen prepared for the impending conflict. The tension was palpable as the coalition's ships appeared in the skies above Earth. Their presence a dark omen. Fleet alarms blared, signaling the beginning of the assault. Initial chaos ensued, but Helen's leadership quickly brought order. "We've trained for this," she reminded her troops. "Stay focused, stay strong. We will not be defeated." The first wave of attacks was brutal, but Earth's defenses, now bolstered by innovative tactics and advanced weaponry, began to hold firm. Dr. Patel's breakthrough in energy weapons provided a critical edge, turning the tide in humanity's favor. As the battle raged, Noah continued his diplomatic efforts, reaching out to potential allies and broadcasting the evidence of the Council's corruption. The response was overwhelming. Public opinion began to shift, and support for Earth grew. By the end of the first day of battle, it was clear that Earth would not fall easily. The invaders were repelled, and humanity's resilience shone brightly in the face of adversity. In a war room deep within the fortified command center, Helen, Dr. Patel, and Noah reviewed their progress. "Admiral Kincaid, we might be down, but we're not out. It's time to show them what we're made of." Dr. Raj Patel stood in the command center, his fingers flying over holographic displays. Earth's leaders had gathered, their faces etched with determination. The room buzzed with urgency as they discussed their next steps. The expulsion from the Galactic Council had been a blow, but it had also ignited a fire of innovation and resolve. "We need new energy sources," Dr. Patel began, his voice steady. "Our current supplies won't sustain us through this isolation. I've been working on a prototype fusion reactor. If we can scale it up, it could power our defenses and infrastructure indefinitely." Admiral Helen Kincaid nodded. "Do it. We need every advantage we can get." Meanwhile, diplomat Noah Green was deep in conversation with a holographic projection of a Varnathi ambassador. The Varnathi, an oppressed species within the Galactic Council, had shown interest in allying with Earth. "We understand your plight," the ambassador said, her features stern yet sympathetic. "The Council has wronged many. Together, we can support each other." Green leaned forward. "If we share our technological advancements, can we count on your support?" The ambassador nodded. "Yes, but we must be cautious. Open defiance against the Council could bring swift retribution." "Understood. Discretion is key," Green replied, ending the transmission with a satisfied smile. He turned to Kincaid. "We have allies, Admiral. The Varnathi are with us." "Excellent," Kincaid said. "Now, we need to fortify our defenses. Dr. Patel, can your energy weapons be operational soon?" Patel looked thoughtful. "We've made significant progress. The energy weapons I've designed are more powerful and efficient than anything we've used before. We're integrating them into our defense systems now." "Good," Kincaid said, her eyes scanning the room. "We'll need them." As Patel returned to his lab, he felt a surge of pride. The team had been working around the clock, and their efforts were paying off. They had developed a new type of energy weapon that could neutralize enemy ships with pinpoint accuracy. The key was a revolutionary focusing crystal that amplified the weapon's power. "Let's run another test," Patel instructed his team. The lab hummed with activity as they powered up the weapon. A beam of concentrated energy shot out, striking a target and disintegrating it instantly. "Perfect," Patel said, smiling. "Now, let's get this installed on our defense satellites." Back in the command center, Kincaid was coordinating the deployment of these new weapons. "We need coverage across all major points of entry into our system," she ordered. "Position the satellites to create a defensive grid." As the weeks passed, Earth's defenses grew stronger. The new energy weapons were installed, and the fusion reactors began to come online, providing a steady and abundant power source. Underground alliances with other marginalized species solidified, creating a network of support that extended beyond Earth. Diplomat Green continued his efforts to expose the corruption within the Galactic Council. He had collected a significant amount of evidence, including intercepted communications and internal documents, that pointed to a conspiracy orchestrated by the Accelerate Coalition. "We need to get this information out," Green told Kincaid during a strategy meeting. "If we can show the galaxy the truth, we might gain more allies." Kincaid agreed. "We'll need a secure channel to broadcast this, and we must be ready for any retaliation." Green nodded. "I'll handle the dissemination. Dr. Patel, can you ensure our systems are protected against any cyber attacks?" "Absolutely," Patel replied. "We've upgraded our cybersecurity protocols. They won't get through." As the broadcast went live, revealing the depth of the Council's corruption, the response was immediate. Messages of support poured in from various factions, and the news spread like wildfire. "Look at this," Green said, showing Kincaid a message from a high-ranking official within the Galactic Council. "They're calling for an internal investigation. This could be the break we need." Kincaid smiled grimly. "It's a start, but we can't let our guard down. They'll be coming for us." "We're ready," she whispered to herself. "Let them come." Reports come in of a coalition of rival species amassing forces near Earth's borders, preparing for an invasion. Fleet alarms blared, their piercing sounds echoing through the corridors of Earth's Defense Command. Admiral Helen Kincaid stood in the control room, her eyes fixed on the holographic display, showing enemy ships closing in. The coalition of rival species had finally launched their invasion. "Status report," Kincaid barked, her voice cutting through the chaos. Lieutenant Davis, her operations officer, responded quickly. "Enemy fleet detected in multiple sectors. Initial defensive lines are struggling to hold. They're deploying ground forces as well." Kincaid took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Activate all defensive protocols. Inform Dr. Patel. We need those new energy weapons online now." "Yes, Admiral," Davis replied, turning to relay the orders. In the heart of Earth's most advanced research facility, Dr. Raj Patel worked frantically. His team of scientists and engineers were finalizing the last adjustments to the newly developed energy weapons. The stakes had never been higher. Raj called Dr. Emily Zio, his chief engineer. "The weapons are ready, but they're untested in live combat." Dr. Patel's expression was resolute. "We don't have a choice, Emily. We need every advantage we can get. Initiate deployment." As the new weapons were brought online, Earth's defenses began to show signs of improvement. Energy blasts from the innovative technology struck enemy ships with precision, causing significant damage. The invaders, previously confident in their overwhelming numbers, now faced unexpected resistance. In the command center, Admiral Kincaid monitored the evolving battle. She knew that while the new technology gave them a fighting chance, strategy and leadership would determine the outcome. "Prepare the counteroffensive," Kincaid ordered. "We need to disrupt their command and control. Target their flagship." Lieutenant Davis nodded, coordinating with the fleet. The counteroffensive plan involved a daring maneuver that required precision and timing. It was risky, but it was their best shot. Meanwhile, on the ground, Earth soldiers faced a relentless assault. Captain Sarah Martinez, leading one of the frontline units, encouraged her troops amidst the chaos. "Hold the line. For Earth, for our families, we must not let them through." Explosions and gunfire filled the air as human soldiers, equipped with advanced exoskeletons and weaponry, fought back against the invaders. The energy weapons developed by Dr. Patel's team proved invaluable, allowing them to push back the enemy forces. Back in space, the fleet executed Admiral Kincaid's plan. The flagship of the coalition fleet, a massive vessel bristling with weaponry, became their primary target. Using a combination of new energy weapons and traditional tactics, Earth ships launched a coordinated assault. "Focus all firepower on the flagship," Kincaid commanded, her voice unwavering. "We need to take it out to break their formation." As Earth's fleet converged on the enemy flagship, the invaders attempted to rally their defenses. But the surprise and power of Earth's counteroffensive were too much. The flagship's shields flickered, then failed. A series of explosions rocked the vessel as critical systems were hit. On the bridge of the enemy flagship, chaos reigned. High Chancellor Voron, leader of the coalition, watched in disbelief as his supposedly superior forces faltered. "This cannot be," he muttered, gripping the edge of his command console. "How are they doing this?" With a final massive blast, the flagship was destroyed. Debris scattered across the battlefield as the remaining coalition ships hesitated, their command structure shattered. Admiral Kincaid seized the moment. "Press the advantage. Drive them out of our space." Earth's fleet, emboldened by their success, intensified their assault. The coalition forces, now leaderless and disorganized, began to retreat. The tide of the battle had turned, and humanity's resilience and innovation were on full display. In the command center, a sense of relief washed over Kincaid as she watched the enemy ships flee. But she knew the fight was far from over. "Maintain alert status. We need to secure our defenses and prepare for any counterattacks." Dr. Patel contacted Kincaid through the comms. "Helen, the energy weapons performed beyond expectations. We're ready to ramp up production and improve our defensive capabilities." "Excellent work, Raj," Kincaid responded. "We couldn't have done this without your team's efforts. Keep pushing forward. We need every edge we can get." Diplomat Noah Green joined the conversation, his voice carrying a mix of relief and urgency. "Admiral, the Council's corruption evidence is ready. I'll start broadcasting immediately to sway public opinion in our favor." "Do it," Kincaid replied. "The truth needs to be heard." As Green's broadcasts began to spread throughout the galaxy, exposing the corruption within the Galactic Council, public opinion started to shift. Other species, previously wary or neutral, began to see Earth in a new light as a beacon of resilience and strength. Admiral Kincaid, watching the retreating enemy ships, prepares for a daring offensive strategy to secure Earth's long-term safety. "Admiral Kincaid, this is our moment. We fight not just for survival, but for our future." Fleet Admiral Helen Kincaid stood at the helm of the command center, the hum of activity around her a testament to Earth's determination. The holographic display in front of her showed the positions of the invading coalition forces. The situation was dire, but Kincaid's face remained resolute. "We've identified a weak point in their formation," Lieutenant Anders reported, his voice steady despite the tension. "If we hit them here, we can break their line and force a retreat." "Do it," Kincaid ordered. "We can't let them gain any more ground." As Anders relayed the orders, Kincaid turned her attention to the communications console. "Green, are you ready?" Diplomat Noah Green's face appeared on the screen, determination etched in his features. "Ready, Admiral. The evidence is queued up and the network is secure." "Good," Kincaid replied. "It's time to turn the tide. Begin the broadcast." Green nodded and initiated the transmission. Across the galaxy, screens flickered to life, displaying undeniable proof of the Council's corruption. Images and documents revealed the conspiracy orchestrated by High Chancellor Voron and his allies, laying bare the deceit that led to Earth's expulsion. "People of the galaxy," Green's voice rang out, calm yet powerful. "You have been misled. The evidence before you shows the truth. Earth was not the aggressor, but the victim of a calculated betrayal." As the broadcast spread, so did the reactions. Shock, outrage, and support flooded communication channels. Allies who had distanced themselves from Earth began to reconsider their stance, and new alliances started to form. Back on the battlefield, Earth's forces mobilized with renewed vigor. Admiral Kincaid's strategy was clear: exploit the invaders' weaknesses, and push them back. The EDF's newly developed energy weapons, designed by Dr. Raj Patel, proved devastatingly effective. The invaders' ships, once thought invincible, crumbled under the onslaught. In the thick of the battle, Captain Diaz led a squadron of fighters in a daring maneuver. "We've got them on the run, Admiral," he called out, his voice crackling over the comms. "Keep the pressure on, Captain," Kincaid responded. "We can't give them a chance to regroup." As Earth's forces gained ground, the Coalition's resolve began to falter. The strategic brilliance and tenacity of humanity were on full display, forcing even the most stubborn enemies to reconsider their attack. In the Galactic Council chambers, the impact of Green's broadcast was profound. Council members who had remained silent now spoke out, demanding accountability from those who had orchestrated the betrayal. High Chancellor Voron, once confident in his power, found himself besieged by calls for his resignation. "We need to act now," one council member urged. "Reinstate Earth and end this conflict before it escalates further." Meanwhile, Kincaid's forces closed in on the Coalition's command ship. "Prepare for boarding," she ordered, her eyes narrowing. "It's time to end this." Aboard the enemy flagship, chaos reigned. The Coalition's leaders, realizing the futility of their position, attempted to negotiate a retreat. "We can't hold out much longer," one of them admitted, fear creeping into his voice. Kincaid's response was swift and uncompromising. "Surrender now, and you will be treated fairly. Continue this fight, and we will show no mercy." The Coalition's commanders, their forces decimated and their morale shattered, capitulated. Earth had won not just through superior technology and strategy, but through sheer determination and unity. As the battle ended, Kincaid addressed her crew. "We did it," she said, her voice filled with pride. "We stood our ground and proved our worth. But this victory is just the beginning. We must rebuild and ensure that such a betrayal never happens again." The victory reverberated throughout the galaxy. Earth's resilience and strength had turned the tide, not only in battle, but in the hearts and minds of many. The Galactic Council, now forced to acknowledge their mistake, prepared to reinstate Earth. Diplomat Green, fresh from his broadcasting success, returned to the council chambers. "We seek not revenge, but justice and reform," he declared. "Let this be a lesson that unity and truth are stronger than deceit and corruption." The council, humbled and chastened, agreed to Earth's terms. Reforms were enacted to prevent future manipulations, ensuring fair treatment and mutual respect for all member species. Back on Earth, the celebrations were tempered with the knowledge of the work that lay ahead. Admiral Kincaid, Dr. Patel, and Diplomat Green knew that their fight was not just for survival, but for a future where humanity could thrive and contribute to a just and peaceful galaxy. Dr. Patel, this weapon could end the war, but it's a one-shot deal. The final battle loomed as Earth's forces and their newfound allies faced the last desperate assault from the Coalition. Fleet Admiral Helen Kincaid stood on the bridge of the EDS Vanguard, her eyes locked on the holographic display of enemy ships converging on their position. "Status report," Kincaid ordered, her voice steady. "Shields at 80%, weapons systems online," replied Lieutenant Anderson, his hands dancing over the controls. "The Coalition fleet is approaching fast." In the lab, Dr. Raj Patel completed the final adjustments to the prototype weapon. "Admiral, the weapon is ready," he said over the comms. "But remember, it's only got one shot." Kincaid nodded. "Understood. We'll make it count." On the diplomatic front, Noah Green broadcasted a live message across the galaxy. "People of the Galactic Council, the evidence of corruption within your leadership is undeniable. The Exolari Coalition has manipulated you into this war. Join us, and let's bring true justice and peace." As the Coalition's fleet drew closer, Kincaid turned to her crew. "All hands, prepare for battle. Today, we fight not just for Earth, but for the future of this galaxy. The battle began with a flurry of energy blasts and tactical maneuvers. Earth ships, smaller and more agile, darted through the Coalition's larger vessels, using hit-and-run tactics to create chaos. "Admiral, we've got incoming fighters on our 6, shouted Ensign Roberts. "Deploy countermeasures and return fire," Kincaid commanded. "Keep them off our backs." On the ground, the Planetary Defense Forces engaged the Coalition troops who had managed to breach the outer defenses. Using the new energy weapons developed by Dr. Patel, they held the line with remarkable efficiency. Back in the lab, Dr. Patel monitored the weapons' power levels. "Admiral, the window is closing. We need to fire now." Kincaid took a deep breath. "Lieutenant, target the Coalition flagship. Prepare to fire the prototype." "Aye, Admiral." "Target locked." "Fire!" A blinding beam of energy shot from the EDS Vanguard, piercing through space and striking the Coalition flagship. The enemy vessel shuddered, its shields collapsing under the unprecedented force. Explosions rippled across its hull, and the flagship began to disintegrate. Direct hit. "The flagship is going down," Lieutenant Anderson reported, a cheer erupting from the crew. Kincaid allowed herself a brief smile. "Stay focused. We're not out of this yet." The destruction of the Coalition flagship sent shockwaves through the enemy fleet. Ships began to retreat, their formations breaking as panic set in. Seizing the opportunity, Kincaid ordered a full offensive. "All units, press the attack. Push them back and don't let up." Noah Green's broadcast had its intended effect. Allied ships from previously neutral species joined the fray, turning the tide decisively in Earth's favor. The Coalition forces, outnumbered and outmaneuvered, had no choice but to flee. "We've done it. Earth stands victorious." In the aftermath, the Galactic Council was forced to acknowledge their grave mistake. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered to formally reinstate Earth, recognizing their courage and integrity. High Chancellor Voron, humbled and deposed, watched as new leadership took charge. Earth's demands for reforms were met, ensuring fair treatment and mutual respect within the Council. Admiral Kincaid, Dr. Patel, and Noah Green stood together as Earth's reinstatement was announced. Green's voice carried a message of hope and determination. "Today marks a new beginning. We stand not as conquerors, but as equal partners in this galaxy. We will build a future where all species can thrive together." The council chamber, filled with delegates from every corner of the galaxy, resounded with applause. The warning run "While you can" had transformed into a symbol of resilience and justice.